take my hand. Precious Lord, lead me home. Precious Lord, take my hand. Lead me on, let me stand. I am tired, I am weak, and I am worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on to the light. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home.
One of the psalms that Marge loved and enjoyed, perhaps especially because we live in this area filled with hills, was Psalm 121. And so I share it with you now as a psalm that indicates that God is with us, and wherever we look to for aid and help, then we look to God. And it's a psalm of comfort and of protection for each and every one of us. I look up at the hills and I wonder, from where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of earth and sky. May God not let you stumble. May God, your protector, not sleep. For truly God never rests nor sleeps. The Lord is your protector, the shade at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon at night. The Lord protects you from every evil. God protects your life. The Lord will protect your coming and going now and forevermore. I first met Marge about 14 years ago when she was a young woman of 81. Though no one knew it at the time, how old she actually was. That was a closely guarded secret that only came out recently. 95 years old, and look at all of you here that are testimony. Some of you have been friends of hers and her family's, her husband's, since maybe perhaps 1946 when they moved here to this community. And some of you have driven distances to be here in support and in love of Susan or Bill or other family members. Some of you go back to her Girl Scout days. I understand she got some of you when you were young brownies and nurtured you and taught you and brought you up until you were 8th grade. Are there any Girl Scouts here that, oh my, look at all of you. You all look young still yourself. What a legacy for Marge at 95 to have so many people that show up and say, you know, we respected this woman so much that we're going to come. We're going to be there. That's a marvelous tribute and a testimony to her and to all of you, the family that sits here in the front couple pews. I used to visit her in her house in some of the later years when she was not getting up and around quite as actively as she used to. Of course, when I first came here, she was still active as all those, that incredible, and I use that word, that incredible group of 80-year-old people that Bob Puckett saw and raised himself as a minister here for 26 years, that active group who built this church. And what a legacy they left, but they were still involved in bazaars and clothing sales and preparing food for events such as this. What an amazing, amazing generation of people. And Marge was one of the oldest of that group to pass amongst us. There's a couple of you still here, and we cherish you, each and every one. And so today we celebrate her life. This is not a time for me or for anybody, but it's a time for you with your memories. Some of you go way, way back to early days. Your memories are what count. And as we talk today and do some sharing, myself and some family members, I would invite you to let your mind wander. Let your mind drift back to some thoughts that you have that are anchored away back in your mind that are somehow important to you. They might be real small stories, but they somehow have kept with you, and therefore they're important memories. Marge was a person that as soon as you met her, you said, yep, she's from Iowa. My parents were from Iowa. Strong, hardy stock, Western Iowa people, raised in the prairie, living out in that plain where the wind never stops blowing, where it gusts across the prairies like it was this afternoon, sending sand and dirt and snow scattering. Raised in that area of the world and even teaching in a one-room schoolhouse in the hills of Iowa for a time in her life. Coming here as a woman of strength and of character, and some of you have offered testimony to that strength, that character, the ability to have some strong opinions and to share those, ultimately without reserve. As she grew a little bit older, understand you pretty much always knew where you stood with Marge. Bless her for that. And her son Bill said, yes, she raised us to be independent, strong-willed, to have opinions, to think for ourselves, to be open-minded, to be tolerant. All words which I guess really describe her and the way she saw herself as a person of faith, reaching out into the world, not talking a lot about what she believed, but just simply doing the things that were significant and important to her. She's a good lady, and we will share some more thoughts in the words of her children and grandchildren as our morning goes on. But let's hear now from Tim and Liz.
True word, I ever with thee, and thou with me, Lord. Thou my soul's shelter, thou my high tower. Raise thou me heavenward, O power of my power. Riches I heed not, nor world's empty praise. Thou is now